Macy and possibly Ava are going to ask me some questions. I'm fighting a little bit of a, so bear with me.
Okay, what was your favorite family vacation?
Ooh, favorite family vacation. Well, because we've done a bagajillion, and even Sun River stuff I have adored, but nothing for me could top the last Paris trip. And that's saying something because we've done Hawaii, and which was out of this world, but there was something magical about Paris for a whole host of reasons, including my trench coats that make it, and the gelato. No, seriously, Paris.
Yeah, you
Tell me about when you named me and Macy.
Well, Macy, we had it down to a few. The person holding the camera is probably going to correct me at some point. But Allison wasn't feeling all that great with Macy, and I got the privilege of filling in the birth certificate and picking a name. I think at one point Allison was like, "I don't care, just name her."
I said, I'm never doing this again. Name her whatever you want. And
So-
the entire pregnancy, you wanted Macy.
Make
And
sure you're not covering up any microphone.
I don't even know where a microphone is.
Well, now you're not.
So I said, the entire pregnancy, you wanted Macy, and I was like, well, I got to see her first. What if she doesn't look like a Macy? And packages were even coming for Macy McKinney. So then,
Well, one of our choices was Cassidy, and I went with it. And I filled out the birth certificate, Cassidy. No.
all you did was put on the name tag, hello, my name is.
Oh. I thought we actually had to change the birth certificate. Apparently, see, I'd be corrected. But for a while, I told everybody your name was Cassidy. And then I got to looking at you, and I was like, she's not Cassidy. She's Macy. So then we changed it to Macy, and duh. Ava, I don't remember a lot of details. I just remember.
Do you want me to start it off and then you could say?
Sure.
So we hadn't finalized a name for Ava, and we had a list, and we were on the way because I was having a C-section, and I had a black Sharpie, and we were crossing off names. Ava was on the list, but we were trying to come up with the M name because Macy.
Oh yeah.
And so, but we couldn't agree. And so I had a C-section. We still hadn't figured out a name. You know, I'm still in recovery from the C-section, and you tweeted, texted, and told everybody that her name was
Ava.
Ava Jean.
Ava Jean, which, again, if you're scoring, Jay's way ahead. Because duh and duh.
Okay, what's the best thing about raising children? What's the hardest?
Best thing about raising children is you naturally fall so head over heels in love that you didn't even know. It's like before you guys were born, I had this capacity to love, and that was pretty high because I had the best life in the world. But then Macy was born, and it went, and then Ava was born, and it went. So the best thing is the love that it pours into your heart when you just see, oh my gosh, God decided to give us these gifts. And then I remember, and you remember this, one of my favorite things was this is the first time. This is the first time Macy's done this. This is the first time she's done this. This is the first time Macy's gone fishing. This is the first, and the same with you. It's like experiencing all those firsts with a child and getting to be part of showing them that, or first time on a plane or whatever. All those firsts just like makes you come alive again because you see it through your eyes instead of like maybe I've been on a plane 50 times, right? Well, now it's Macy's first or Ava's first, and it just comes alive. I think the hardest thing about raising children, well, one of them would be that you start to see some of my own patterns that that I wouldn't have wanted to pass on. And when I see that in you, the tendency is that's my fault, and I don't want to pass on anything negative to my children. So I think that's one of the hardest things.
This one.
Is there anything you would have done differently in your life?
You know, honestly, my motto is I just flat out don't live my life with regret. Now, if that's the way God worked, I'd probably take key moments in my life where I was just living for myself and being a bonehead and ignoring Him, and I go back and change that. I do it different. But as far as like, I worked at home base for a while and cleaned bathrooms, or I think.
Sorry.
Now you're probably covering up the mic with your other hand. There you go. There you go. I kind of like the path. I kind of like the path I've taken. So, I guess sin would be the only thing I do different. Sin less.
What helped you get through hard times?
A lot of things. My relationship with God, the Bible, prayer, worship music, my family, my friends, hugs, kisses, being grateful, thinking about things I'm thankful for, perspective.
Are you proud of us?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That would go back to the best, one of the best things about being a parent is watching you guys thrive in your natural gifting. So in whatever that is, different things, makes me so proud of you. I think of Mason, even athletics and soccer and track. I think of Ava with art and dancing and just things that you guys are naturally gifted in. When I watch you do it and I watch it bring you joy, it fills me up with pride.
How should we grow our relationship with Christ?
I think we complicate it. I think in the same way that I want to grow my relationship with Allison, what does it take? Well, I have to spend time with her. I have to talk to her. I have to listen to her, right? These basic elements of developing a relationship are there with Christ. I think a lot of people turn it into religion, which isn't relationship, which is you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to show up to church or whatever it is. I could do a lot of things that would not increase my relationship with Allison. I could even study about Allison, right? I could be like, today I'm going to take 2 hours and I'm going to go find out this about Allison, and I'm going to find out, blah, 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 right? And I could learn about Allison, which is fine, right? Especially if I take that into my relationship. But if that's all I'm doing is learning about her, am I drawing closer to her? Are we like, no. So same with God, right? A lot of people go learn about God, but they're missing this intimate conversation with God. So does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What's the best part of your life?
Sitting on the couch over there. My wife and my 2 daughters. Without a doubt, the best part of my life.
What are your proudest moments?
Probably holding both of you. Probably sharing Christ with you guys. Probably watching you guys accept Christ would be right up there. I guess another thing that comes to mind is leading worship and desiring to get to a place in my heart and soul where I knew it was about God and not about me. And it was a good feeling. That would be moments, proud moments.
Do you have any advice for when me and Ava start working?
Make it fun as much as you can, but don't be afraid of hard work. Show up early, work hard, make it fun. Even a miserable job can be fun if you decide to make it fun. Even when I was a hod carrier and mixing mud all day and working my tail off like I never have in my life, I made the job fun, and when I interacted with the men, I made them laugh. So yeah, that'd be my advice.
What are some of your funniest moments that you can remember?
You have to say all of them, just like one or two.
I don't know why, but the very first thing that popped in my mind was singing a rescue concert. Well, actually that just brought another one to mind that was also rescue. I'll say that one first. So we always did all this comedy with rescue, and we did this one thing, I don't even remember the context or how we set it up, but I would do a baby cry. Right? And I had my back to the crowd, and I would do this baby cry, and it sounded really real. Well, what I didn't realize is, and Mom told me, is that when I would do the baby cry, my butt would clench. And I was doing that in front of a lot of people. So that was a funny moment. Another funny rescue moment was we were singing at like the Oregon lawyers breakfast or something with a bunch of people that didn't smile, and we didn't even know why they hired us and why we were there, and I was sicker than a dog, could barely sing, literally. We decided to do our comedy, Don't Worry, Be Happy. We were lip syncing, which is part of the gig, and there's a slow motion part where like and all these people that don't smile and had no sense of humor were behind me, and I looked at Josh, and Josh did this nostril flare thing, and I laughed, and when I laughed, about a pound of green snot came out of my nose, and we're in the middle of slow motion, and I had to figure out before we turned around again what to do with that. That was a very funny moment in my life. Out of about 3 million.
What was your best prank?
You know, people think that I'm a master pranker, but let me tell you what the true story is. People love to prank me, and that's how I get my reputation. My pranks are harmless, they're good for humanity, and they usually involve posting on someone's behalf. Funny things that they wouldn't post. Again, harmless, eco-friendly. It's other people that have built a legacy of massive pranks against me.
Oh no. Okay. What's your favorite movie or couple?
Well, like Mom would say, any sports feel-good movie, period. But I love movies like Braveheart, Gladiator, where a hero has to triumph over injustice and suffering and comes out ahead.
Where does Dumb and Dumber
I love comedies, but
and those type?
I wouldn't rate them as my favorite.
Do you have any advice for marriage? And how do you know they are the one?
I told Macy this the other day. I think a really good way that you would know if someone's the one is if they ask you to marry you and you really want to say yes.
Makes it so simple.
If you were like cringy inside, probably not the one. I think one of the secrets to Mom and I's relationship has been consistent dating over our time together, just to reconnect romantically and stare in each other's eyes and get that googly feeling that we got when we were dating. I think that's really important. And I think if you just start living two separate lives and don't put that in your schedule, then you're gonna grow apart. Kind of back to the relationship thing, right? There's just some basic no-does, and those no-does get harder and harder and harder when you're faced with real life bills, maybe a tragedy, maybe the loss of a baby, maybe, whatever, right? You guys have to commit to, we are going to foster our intimacy week in and week out.
What's one of your favorite verses?
Well, I love Joshua 1:8 and 9. That's basically just talking about being strong and courageous. I don't have it memorized, but I love the exhortation to be strong and courageous and to not let the Bible depart from my life. Book of the law, they call it, but I call it the Bible now. I love Hebrews 12:1 and 2. That since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us run the race that is set before us. That those two verses, casting off everything that hinders us in our walk, so that we can run for Jesus. I like the chapter of Romans 8, which is phenomenal. I love the Psalms. I love the Psalms because they're real. People that are struggling with, God, are you abandoning me? What's up? I don't feel you. Because we all have that. So the Psalms is amazing to just read, but there's always a part where it goes back and it's the relationship's restored and they praise God. I could go on.
What's your favorite food?
Oh dear. Really? I'm a foodie, so that's a really, really tough one. If someone put me on an island and said you get to one meal for the rest of your life, I would probably pick a chicken soft taco bar where I had flour tortillas, the best grilled chicken known to man. It would have salsas, like 7 different ones, chilled on the island. Cheeses, like, I mean, just cheese, right? Just almost plump. Different types of cheeses that I could put on there. Roasted pineapple on that, guac. You guys, I mean, I think everybody here is in agreement with me, so, yeah.
What do you hope for in life for me and Ava?
Well, now that you know Christ, my biggest hope is that you take him into your life. You take him into your career. You take him into your marriage. You take him into being moms. Take them into being wives. That's my biggest hope for you. And you guys haven't known me my whole life, but I've had periods where I took them everywhere. I've had periods where I took them nowhere. And so my greatest hope is that you more and more live a integrated life where God's just a part of everything you do.
What is one of your favorite memories of me and you and Macy and you?
Well, honestly, one of the first things that comes to mind with Macy is holding you after that track meet. When you collapsed or were about to collapse. I don't know why, but the privilege of getting to hold you, even, what were you, 16 at the time, or and just be there for you is one of my favorite moments. But I mean, I have millions of favorite moments with you, cheering you on at the end of, the beginning and end of track meets, giving you pep talks, right up there with some of my favorite moments. Ava, my gosh, favorite moments. I mean, I guess one of them would be watching you dance. live, either in my home, but something about when you get on that stage at a dance recital, if you could see through my eyes, I see nobody. I see nobody else but you. And I think everybody else sees nobody but you too, because that's how much you shine. Something special. So that's one of my favorite moments, but I think one of my favorite moments with Ava, especially when I was sleeping out here, is just every single morning the way you greet me. I tell people it's like there's an angel in my home. So getting morning hugs and kisses and how are you and how did you sleep would be one of my favorite moments with you.
Favorite car that you owned and your favorite car in general?
Well, it's funny because my first favorite car that I owned was my second car, and I bought it from Uncle Dave, and it was a GTI Rabbit. They had Rabbits and they had GTIs, and this was a GTI Rabbit, and it was so cool. And when I first got it, it had these killer white rims, and the car was white, and it had this. He had taken this thing out off of a Camaro and put it on the hood, so it had this really cool like louver design on the hood. It had in the back it had a spoiler like a race car would. I couldn't even believe it was mine. Like, I had gone from this piece of junk, I mean the kind of car that every time you go up to it you could literally kick it and key it and dent it and you couldn't tell where you did it. That was my first truck. And then to go to this, which was sporty and it had low profile and it had this killer sound system and all my friends loved it. I was just like, oh. So that was my first favorite car for sure, and I just have a lot of emotional attachment to it. Fast forward to today, the car that I have now is a Volkswagen Jetta, and it's just a little sedan, but it's so comfortable. It drives so nice, and it because it's a Volkswagen, because I can see the Volkswagen on the steering wheel, it brings me back to that first car, that Volkswagen that I love so much. So I've had lots of different cars that I love, including probably the one that should make the list is the Suburban that I call the J-Mobile.
The Yukon?
Yeah, the Yukon. I loved the Yukon.
Since you won't be at my track meets, what's like one little pep talk or like one motivational thing that I can remember like right before I run that you would say to me?
Well, for you, Mace, your fuel is heart. Your fuel is passion. Your fuel is believing in yourself at the right time and at the right moment. So I would challenge you at every track meet to go do what you do when you get in that zone, and you say, what would Dad try to do right now? Well, what Dad would try to do is tap into your passion, because you can do anything for 2 minutes, right? Anything. And if you're running on passion, and you know this because I told you this a lot, my biggest wish for you is that when you're done across that line, there's nothing left in the tank, right? I don't care if you have to collapse. You're going to recover in about 30 seconds. But don't finish that line, which you know, right? Don't finish that line and say, I had more. That would be what I'd say to you.
Say something like that.
What is it like watching me dance? I know, or you could do with something before one of my dance recitals.
Well, you know what I always tell you. You've put in the work, right? I mean, you flat out put in the work. So my desire for you, and I think you're good at this, is to now enjoy, to now live in the moment, to now realize you're affecting and impacting people with that smile. And just, I want you to enjoy it, the technical's there by the time you get on there, right? So I want you to be able to go in this zone of this is an absolute blast, instead of I've got to nail this perfect drive. And obviously you're gonna have to stay sharp, but I also just really want you to enjoy, because the freedom of the work that you put in to get to that moment. Does that make sense?
We already kind of said that.
Well, then should I do it?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it like watching me run?
Oh my gosh. So your dad was a runner, and it brought me such joy and such, I don't want to say identity, but purpose. I had a community, I had friends, but it was also this internal battle. And watching you run not only brings me back to something that I loved, but now I'm combining it with something that I love even more, you. Two things that I really, really love. And also knowing that I was a part of spurring you on towards that love. It's hard to explain. It's watching you run's one of the most fulfilling things in my life. Especially when you would shock the snot out of you. Mom and I, and we're like, she's probably not going to do good this meet because of this. And suddenly you're half a lap ahead, and we're looking at each other going, what's happening right now? Yeah. Let's take a quick pause for a commercial break.
What was one of the worst moments in your life, and what did you do about it, and how did you get through it?
Ooh.
Macy, say this one for me to ask.
I think the first thing that came to my mind was when I dislocated my knee. I was a sophomore. I had a phenomenal, for me, freshman year of running, and it was basketball season, which meant track was just around the corner, and I couldn't wait. And then in the warm-ups of a basketball game, and I'm not going to name names, Bob Young, whose knee hit mine out of place on a layup drill, my whole life changed. And suddenly I found myself on the floor, pounding my head on the gym floor as hard as I possibly could to take the pain away from there, to where they kept trying to shield my head. Obviously the game stopped. I'm white as a ghost. My knee's out here. And I remember my dad comforting me. And back then they just slap you in a cast, hard cast, for months and months. My leg got down to about the size of this finger. And how did I get through it? Honestly, the second that cast came off, I went to work. I just went to work, and ended up getting to play hoops again, and having a fairly successful running career, but nothing like what it had been.
So what was it your freshman year for running? Was it track or cross country that you did better, or were
Track.
you? And what did you run?
The 1500.
Do you remember your best time?
No, but I never lost a race. My freshman year, except my last one, where this Indian boy from Shemeketa gained nearly a half a lap on me at the end, and beat me by about 2 steps, and I'll never forget that. I kind of did not pace myself well.
Oh, really? Huh. So you went to state though your freshman year
Yeah, and I placed 3rd in state as a freshman.
in the
In
1500.
the 1500.
What's your favorite race to run?
The 1500. I changed to the 8 after my knee injury, but the 1500, which is awesome because I ran the 8 and Macy ran the 8.
Is there any final advice or anything you want to tell us?
This was your guys' idea, so I'm not sitting here just like, I've got some advice for you. But if I have another opportunity today to look both of you in the eye and tell you that I adore you and that I love you, I'll take that.
Thanks, Dad.